July 22, 2024, 9:17 a.m. A trail camera positioned at the entrance of Cascade Mountain State Forest in Washington State captures a woman approaching the trailhead. Her name is Brooke Ashford, 31 years old. She's wearing black athletic leggings, teal tank top, hiking boots. Her blonde hair is pulled back in a high ponytail. She's carrying a small blue day pack. The camera, installed by the State Parks Department to monitor wildlife and trail usage, records everything. Brooke walks up to the wooden trailhead kiosk, pauses, reads the posted map showing the Ridgeline Trail, a moderate 6.5-mile loop trail, known for scenic waterfall views, popular with day hikers, well-maintained, well-marked, safe. Brooke checks her phone, appears to send a text, then puts the phone in her backpack, adjusts her pack straps, takes a sip from her water bottle, clips it back to her pack, ready to start her hike. At 9:18 a.m., she steps onto the trail. The camera captures her entering the tree line. She's smiling, looking forward to the hike, looking forward to the waterfall, looking forward to being in nature. She has no reason to be afraid. This is a state park, a public trail, a beautiful summer morning. The timestamp on the trail camera reads 9:18 a.m. That's the last confirmed footage of Brooke Ashford entering Cascade Mountain State Forest. Within 6 hours, her boyfriend would be calling park rangers in a panic. Within 12 hours, search and rescue teams would be deployed across the forest. And within 9 days, investigators would discover that Brooke had encountered someone on that trail. Someone who'd presented himself as a helpful park volunteer. Someone who'd offered to show her a shortcut to the waterfall. Someone who was not a volunteer at all. Someone who'd been waiting in those woods for weeks, studying the trails, learning the patterns, waiting for the right victim. This is the story of Brooke Ashford, how a routine solo hike turned into an abduction, how a predator used the cover of wilderness to hunt, and how investigators pieced together what happened through trail cameras, cell phone data, and the testimony of one witness who saw something that didn't seem quite right. Brooke Ashford was born in Spokane, Washington in 1993. She was the youngest of 3 sisters. Her father worked as a civil engineer. Her mother was a nurse. They were an active family, camping, hiking, skiing, spending time outdoors. Brooke grew up comfortable in nature, confident in the wilderness. She attended Washington State University, studied environmental science, graduated in 2015, got a job with the Department of Natural Resources, worked as a habitat restoration specialist. Her job involved spending time in forests, wetlands, natural areas, assessing ecological health, planning restoration projects. She loved her work, loved being outside, loved contributing to conservation. In 2021, Brooke moved to Olympia for work, met her boyfriend, Ryan Mitchell, through mutual friends. They started dating in early 2022. Ryan was a software developer, worked remotely. They were a good match, shared interests in hiking and outdoor activities, spent weekends exploring trails around Washington. Brooke was experienced in the outdoors. She knew trail safety, carried the 10 essentials, told people where she was going, checked weather conditions. She wasn't reckless. She was prepared, responsible, careful. On July 21, 2024, Brooke mentioned to Ryan that she wanted to hike the Ridgeline Trail in Cascade Mountain State Forest the next day, Monday. She had the day off work. Ryan had meetings all day, couldn't join her. Brooke said she'd go solo. She'd done plenty of solo hikes, felt comfortable. The Ridgeline Trail was moderate, well-traveled. She'd be fine. Ryan asked her to text when she started and when she finished. Standard practice for them. Brooke agreed, said she'd leave early, start around 9 a.m., be done by early afternoon. July 22nd, Brooke woke up at 7 a.m., had breakfast, packed her day pack, water, trail mix, first aid kit, map, compass, phone charger, sunscreen, everything she needed. Her phone was fully charged, 94% battery. She drove to Cascade Mountain State Forest, about 45 minutes from her apartment, arrived at the trailhead parking area at 9:05 a.m., parked her Subaru Outback, gray color, Washington plates, locked it, put the keys in her pack. At 9:16 a.m., she texted Ryan, "Starting the hike. Trail looks great. Love you." Ryan responded, "Have fun. Be safe. Text me when you're done." Brooke walked to the trailhead. The trail camera captured her arrival at 9:17 a.m., captured her checking the map at the kiosk, captured her entering the trail at 9:18 a.m. The Ridgeline Trail starts with a gradual uphill climb through dense forest. Douglas fir, western hemlock, cedar. The trail is well maintained, clear, easy to follow. After about 2 miles, it reaches a ridge with views of the valley. Then it descends toward a creek with a waterfall, popular photo spot. Then loops back to the trailhead. Total distance 6.5 miles. Estimated time 3 to 4 hours depending on pace and stops. Brooke was fit, experienced. She'd likely complete the loop in 3.5 hours. Be back at the trailhead around 12:45 or 1 p.m. By 1:30 p.m., Ryan checked his phone. No text from Brooke. He wasn't worried yet. Maybe she'd stopped for lunch. Maybe she was taking photos. Maybe her phone was in her pack and she hadn't heard it. By 2 p.m., Ryan tried calling. No answer. Straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same result. Now he was getting concerned. By 3 p.m., Ryan called the park ranger station at Cascade Mountain State Forest. Explained that his girlfriend had started a hike at 9 a.m. Should have been done hours ago. Wasn't answering her phone. Could they check the trailhead? A park ranger drove to the Ridgeline Trail parking area, found Brooke's Subaru, still parked, still locked. No sign of Brooke. The ranger called Ryan back. Said the vehicle was there but no sign of her on the trail. They'd send someone to hike the trail, look for her. 2 rangers hiked the Ridgeline Trail, starting at 3:30 p.m., calling Brooke's name, looking for any sign of her. They completed the loop by 5:15 p.m., found nothing. No sign of Brooke, no backpack, no water bottle, no indication she'd been on the trail. They reported back, initiated search and rescue protocol. By 6 p.m., additional personnel were being called in. By 7 p.m., a full search operation was underway. Search teams deployed across the forest, hiking all trails, checking off trail areas, calling her name, looking for any trace. K9 units were brought in. Tracking dogs, cadaver dogs, helicopters with thermal imaging flew overhead. Volunteers from local search and rescue organizations joined. Dozens of people searching through the night. Ryan arrived at the park around 8 p.m., provided photos of Brooke, description of what she was wearing, information about her hiking experience and fitness level. He was terrified. Brooke was experienced. She wouldn't get lost. She wouldn't wander off trail. Something was wrong. Investigators pulled Brooke's phone records. Last activity was the text to Ryan at 9:16 a.m. Her phone had pinged off a cell tower near the trailhead at 9:17 a.m. Then at 9:42 a.m., her phone pinged off a tower further north, about 3 miles from the trailhead, but not in the direction of the Ridgeline Trail, in the opposite direction, toward a more remote area of the forest. Then at 10:03 a.m., her phone went offline, either powered off or out of battery or destroyed. No more pings, no more data. Investigators reoriented the search, focused on the area where her phone had last pinged, 3 miles north of the Ridgeline Trail. Dense forest, fewer trails, more remote. Why would Brooke go there? She told Ryan she was hiking Ridgeline. The trail camera showed her starting on Ridgeline. What made her go north? Search teams combed that area, found nothing the first night. Continued searching through the next day, July 23rd. Still nothing. No sign of Brooke, no evidence of where she'd gone, no clues. Investigators reviewed all available camera footage. The trail camera at Ridgeline showed Brooke entering. But were there other cameras? They checked. Found one other trail camera, positioned on a different trail, the North Ridge Trail, about 2 miles from Ridgeline. This camera was also maintained by state parks for wildlife monitoring. Investigators pulled footage from July 22nd, and they found something. At 9:51 a.m., the camera captured 2 people walking on the North Ridge Trail, heading north, away from the main trail system, into more remote forest. One person was clearly Brooke Ashford, teal tank top, black leggings, blue backpack, unmistakable. The other person was a man, mid-30s, average build, wearing khaki pants, forest green shirt, baseball cap, backpack. He was walking slightly ahead of Brooke, appeared to be leading her. They weren't on an established trail. They were on a side path, narrow, barely visible, leading deeper into the forest, and Brooke was following him. This changed everything. Brooke hadn't gotten lost. She'd gone with someone, willingly, following them. But who was this person? And where were they going? Investigators enhanced the footage, tried to get a better look at the man. His face was partially obscured by the baseball cap, but they could see enough. They released the image to media, asked if anyone recognized him, asked if anyone had seen him in the forest that day. Meanwhile, search teams intensified efforts in the area north of where the second camera had captured Brooke. Searchers spread out, covered miles of terrain, through dense undergrowth, steep ravines, remote areas rarely accessed by hikers. On July 24th, 2 days after Brooke's disappearance, searchers found something. A water bottle, blue, same brand Brooke carried, found off-trail, about 4 miles north of the ridgeline trailhead, in a dense area of forest. No trails nearby, just wilderness. The location was marked. Search efforts concentrated there. K9 units brought in. Dogs picked up a scent, followed it north, deeper into the forest, further from any trail, into an area so remote most hikers never accessed it. Then on July 26th, 4 days after Brooke's disappearance, searchers made a discovery. A small clearing, hidden by dense trees, not visible from any trail. And in that clearing, evidence of recent human activity. A makeshift campsite, tarp strung between trees, sleeping bag, camping gear, food supplies, and disturbingly, items that didn't belong to a typical camper. Rope, duct tape, a hunting knife, and women's clothing, not Brooke's. Different sizes, different styles, but evidence that this site had been used before, that someone had been here, that someone had brought people here. Investigators processed the scene, found Brooke's backpack, her phone, smashed, destroyed, found evidence of a struggle, disturbed earth, blood traces, but no Brooke. The site was in a ravine, thick vegetation, creek running through. Searchers expanded the perimeter, searched downstream, searched the surrounding area, using all available resources. On July 30th, 8 days after Brooke disappeared, searchers found her, approximately half a mile from the campsite, in dense brush near the creek. She had been deceased for several days. Medical examiner determined cause of death as blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. She'd been attacked at the campsite, then moved to the location where she was found. The discovery was devastating. Her family, Ryan, the search teams who'd worked tirelessly to find her, everyone had hoped she'd be found alive. That hope was gone. Now the focus shifted, from search and rescue to homicide investigation. Who was the man in the trail camera footage? Who had led Brooke into the forest? Who had killed her? Before we continue with how investigators identified the suspect and built their case, if stories like this matter to you, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. We cover real investigations, real cases, real victims who deserve justice. Hit like if you think Brooke's story needs to be told. Comment your thoughts. Because what investigators discovered next revealed this wasn't random. This was planned, and Brooke wasn't the first victim. Investigators had the trail camera image of the man with Brooke. They circulated it widely, media coverage, social media, asking for public help identifying him. A witness came forward, a woman who'd been hiking at Cascade Mountain State Forest on July 22nd. She'd been on a different trail. Around 9:30 a.m., she'd encountered a man who'd offered to show her a shortcut to a viewpoint. He'd been wearing a forest green shirt, khaki pants, baseball cap, looked official, like a park volunteer or ranger. The woman had declined, said she preferred to stay on the marked trail. The man had been friendly, not pushy, just said to have a nice hike, and walked away. She'd thought nothing of it at the time, but when she saw the trail camera image in the news, she recognized him. Same clothing, same general appearance. She contacted investigators immediately. She provided a detailed description, said the man had been carrying a backpack, had seemed knowledgeable about the trails, had approached her in a friendly, helpful manner, had mentioned he was a volunteer helping visitors find the best routes. Investigators checked with state parks, asked if they had any volunteers matching that description working on July 22nd. The answer was no. State parks didn't have any volunteers deployed that day. They didn't even have a volunteer program that involved guiding hikers on trails. This man was impersonating a park employee or volunteer. Investigators realized what had happened. This man had been in the forest, posing as someone official, approaching solo hikers, offering to show them shortcuts or special viewpoints. leading them off established trails into remote areas. The witness had said no. Brooke had apparently said yes. Why would Brooke trust this person? Because he seemed official, seemed knowledgeable, seemed helpful, and Brooke had no reason to suspect danger. She was in a state park. This person appeared to be a park representative. She trusted the situation. Investigators needed to identify this man. They reviewed all previous reports from Cascade Mountain State Forest, looking for any similar incidents, any complaints about people impersonating park staff, any unusual activity. They found something. In May 2024, 2 months before Brooke's disappearance, a hiker had filed a report. She'd encountered a man on a trail who'd claimed to be a park volunteer. He'd offered to show her a rare wildflower area. She'd followed him for about 10 minutes, then felt uncomfortable, said she needed to head back. He'd been fine with it, didn't push. She'd returned to the main trail without incident. She'd mentioned it to a ranger afterward, just thought it was odd. The ranger had made a note but hadn't investigated further. The woman hadn't been harmed, just felt it was unusual. Investigators contacted that hiker, showed her the trail camera image. She confirmed. That was the same man. Same clothing, same approach, same friendly demeanor, offering to show her something special. So this man had been operating in the forest for at least 2 months, approaching solo female hikers, offering to lead them off trail, sometimes succeeding, sometimes not. Had there been other victims? Investigators checked missing persons reports, unsolved cases in the area. Found one. In June 2024, a woman named Sarah Chen, 28 years old, had gone hiking in a different state forest about 60 miles away. Never returned. Her car was found at the trailhead. No sign of her. Search efforts had found nothing. Case remained unsolved. Investigators pulled all available information on Sarah's case. Found that she'd told a friend she was hiking solo. The friend had received a text from Sarah early in the hike, saying she'd met a helpful park volunteer who was going to show her a scenic route. That was the last anyone heard from her. Sarah's body had never been found. Case went cold, but now investigators wondered. Same MO. Helpful park volunteer, leading hikers off trail. Could this be the same person? Investigators needed to identify the man in the trail camera footage. They enhanced the image as much as possible, sent it to facial recognition databases. No matches. This person wasn't in any criminal database. No prior arrests, no identification. They circulated the image more widely, put it on news broadcasts across Washington, asked anyone who recognized him to come forward. Someone had to know who he was. A tip came in. A woman called saying the man in the image looked like her former co-worker, someone who'd worked at an outdoor equipment store in Tacoma. His name was Nathan Cross, 36 years old. Had worked there for about a year. Quit in April 2024. She hadn't seen him since. Investigators ran Nathan Cross, found him, lived in Tacoma, no criminal record, clean background. Worked various retail jobs over the years, outdoor stores, sporting goods. Nothing remarkable. But when they pulled his social media, they found something concerning. Numerous photos of hiking trails, forest areas, state parks. He was an avid hiker, posted regularly about exploring remote trails, about finding hidden spots, about going off the beaten path. And in his photos, he was often wearing the same clothing. Forest green shirt, khaki pants, baseball cap. Same outfit as the man in the trail camera footage. Investigators obtained a warrant, searched Nathan's apartment on August 2nd, found outdoor gear, hiking equipment, and disturbingly, found maps. Detailed maps of multiple state forests in Washington, with specific trails marked. Notes about traffic patterns, best times for solo hikers, remote areas. They found a journal, handwritten entries, describing encounters with hikers, describing which ones seemed trusting, which ones followed him, which ones declined, reading like a predator, documenting his hunting. They found photos on his computer of women hiking, taken without their knowledge, surveillance photos, tracking potential targets, and they found items that didn't belong to Nathan. Women's hiking gear, water bottles, a jacket, souvenirs taken from victims. Nathan Cross was arrested on August 3rd, charged with the kidnapping and murder of Brooke Ashford, also charged in connection with Sarah Chen's disappearance. During interrogation, Nathan initially denied everything, Said he hiked frequently. That's why he had maps and gear. Said the journal was just notes about trails. Said the photos were random hikers he'd encountered. But investigators had evidence. The trail camera footage showing him with Brooke. The witness who'd identified him from the image. The items in his apartment that matched missing women. His journal entries that detailed his methods. Nathan requested an attorney, but evidence was overwhelming. Forensic analysis linked items in Nathan's apartment to both Brooke and Sarah. DNA evidence, fingerprints, physical proof. Prosecutors offered a deal. Plead guilty. Reveal the location of Sarah Chen's body. Provide information about any other victims. In exchange, avoid the death penalty. Life in prison instead. Nathan's attorney advised him to take the deal. He did. Confessed to killing Brooke Ashford and Sarah Chen. Led investigators to Sarah's body. She'd been buried in a remote area of a different state forest, similar to where Brooke was found, hidden in dense forest, miles from any trail. Nathan also revealed there was a third victim in 2023, before Sarah, a woman named Jessica Rivera. She'd disappeared while hiking in Oregon. Case had gone unsolved. Nathan provided details, led Oregon authorities to her remains. She'd been killed the same way, lured off trail by Nathan posing as a helpful guide, taken to a remote campsite, killed, buried. 3 women, 3 victims, all solo hikers, all trusting, all deceived by Nathan's friendly demeanor and fake authority. The trial was brief. Nathan had already confessed. Evidence was presented, forensics, witness testimony, the trail camera footage, the journal entries. Everything documented Nathan's crimes. Families of all 3 victims attended. Brooke's parents, Ryan, Sarah's family, Jessica's family, all there to see justice. On September 20th, 2024, Nathan Cross was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole, 1 for each victim. Judge's words were harsh. Mr. Cross, you exploited people's trust. You posed as someone helpful, someone official, someone these women could trust. Then you led them to their deaths. You are a predator who used wilderness as your hunting ground. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. You will never harm anyone again. Nathan showed no emotion, accepted the sentence without reaction. He's currently incarcerated at Washington State Penitentiary, maximum security, segregated from general population for his own safety. The case led to changes in state park operations, better communication about who official park staff are, how they're identified, warning signs posted at trailheads, advice about not following strangers off marked trails, even if they claim to be park employees. Brooke's family established a foundation, the Brooke Ashford Trail Safety Foundation, providing education about hiking safety, especially for solo hikers, teaching people to verify credentials of anyone claiming official status, to trust their instincts, to stay on marked trails, to tell someone where they're going and when they'll be back. Ryan became an advocate for trail safety, speaks at hiking clubs, at outdoor organizations, tells Brooke's story, makes sure people understand the risks, makes sure Brooke's death leads to greater awareness and prevention. If this case affected you, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Share your thoughts on trail safety and outdoor awareness. This channel covers real cases, real investigations, real victims who deserve to be remembered. Hit like if you think Brooke's story matters. Share if you think hikers need to hear this warning. Nathan Cross used the wilderness as his cover, used the trust people have in park officials, used the isolation of remote trails. He targeted solo hikers, women he could overpower, people who trusted him because he seemed helpful. Brooke did many things right. She told Ryan where she was going. She had the right gear. She started early. She was experienced. But she couldn't have anticipated Nathan, couldn't have known the helpful volunteer was actually a predator. Remember Brooke Ashford, 31 years old, environmental scientist, experienced hiker, loved nature, trusted the wrong person, and paid with her life. Remember Sarah Chen, 28, also an experienced hiker, also trusting, also deceased because Nathan posed as someone safe. Remember Jessica Rivera, first victim, killed in 2023. Her case unsolved until Nathan confessed. 3 women, 3 lives, all stolen by a predator who knew how to manipulate trust and use wilderness as his weapon. Thank you for watching, for caring, for learning from these tragedies. If you hike solo, please be aware. Don't follow strangers off marked trails, even if they seem official. Verify credentials, trust your instincts, tell people where you're going. Carry a personal locator beacon or satellite communicator. Stay connected. Because Nathan Cross proved that predators can be anywhere, even in places we think are safe, even in beautiful state parks, even among people who seem helpful and friendly. The trail camera showed Brooke entering the forest. She never came out, because someone was waiting, someone who'd been planning, someone who knew how to deceive and manipulate. Stay safe out there. Honor Brooke by being vigilant, by protecting yourself and others, by never forgetting that danger can hide behind a friendly smile and helpful offer. Brooke Ashford's story is a tragedy, but it's also a warning, a lesson, a call to awareness. Nathan Cross will die in prison. That's justice. But Brooke, Sarah, and Jessica are still gone. Their families still grieve. Their lives still stolen. This was their story. This is why we remember. This is why we stay vigilant. Never forget, stay aware, trust your instincts, and honor these women by learning from what happened to them. Brooke entered that forest at 9:18 a.m. on a beautiful July morning. She should have finished her hike, should have texted Ryan, should have driven home safely. She didn't because Nathan Cross was waiting. Remember her, remember them all, and stay safe.